I'm Danny Brown, and you're listening to Artifacts, a storytelling podcast about technology, internet culture, media, and the feelings we still attach to them. Because sometimes the objects fade, but the feeling doesn't. Before we begin, a quick thank you to Matt Kundle, right here in Canada, for his recent Apple Podcast review of Artifacts. Matt wrote, "What I appreciate most is that it isn't just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. Artifacts will make you smile, think, and probably say, I had one of those." Thanks for your kind words, Matt, and thanks for helping keep the archive alive. Waiting in line is terrible. Nobody enjoys standing outside a store at 11:30 at night. Nobody enjoys cold weather, or sore feet, or the realisation that somebody ahead of you brought a folding chair and clearly understands life better than you do. And yet, people miss midnight launches a lot. Not because the waiting was fun, but because the anticipation used to be something we shared. And that's becoming increasingly rare. Because midnight launches were never really about buying things, they were more about belonging to a moment. Before digital downloads, launch day actually meant something. You couldn't preload, you couldn't stream it instantly, you couldn't wake up and find it already waiting on your hard drive. If you wanted a new game, movie, console, or album, you waited. And sometimes that waiting became an event. People lined up outside game stores, electronics retailers, shopping malls, and movie theatres, hours and hours before midnight, sometimes longer. Not because we had to, but because we wanted to. Because everybody in that line already had one thing in common: excitement. You didn't need introductions, you just started talking. What are you playing first? What are you hoping for? What do you think happens next? And strangers became temporary communities. One thing modern convenience quietly removed is anticipation. And anticipation matters. Psychologists have studied this for years. Often, the excitement before an event creates as much happiness as the event itself, sometimes more. Midnight launches stretched anticipation into a shared experience. The wait became part of the story. And years later, people rarely remember the transaction, but they do remember the crowd, the conversations, the countdown, and the energy. The memory wasn't the purchase, it was the atmosphere. Today we get things instantly, and that's wonderful, mostly. But instant access changes emotional pacing. Everything arrives immediately, which means fewer moments feel special. Midnight launches, on the other hand, forced everybody into the same timeline. So everybody experienced release together. That collective excitement created cultural moments. You remember hearing cheers when the doors opened, or seeing complete strangers counting down the final seconds, or someone holding up their new console or game like they just won a championship. Now the product mattered, of course it did, but the experience mattered too, and maybe even more. Because anticipation transforms ordinary purchases into stories, and stories are what people remember. Today, our entertainment is increasingly personalised. Algorithms recommend different things to different people. We stream different shows, listen to different playlists, follow different creators. And while that's incredibly convenient, it also means we experience fewer things together. Midnight launches, though, they were collective experiences. Everybody was excited about the same thing at the same time. For a few hours, it felt like you were part of something bigger than yourself. Not a fandom, not a customer base, but a moment. And moments like that stick with people. Because humans are wired for shared experiences. The line outside the store wasn't really about what you were buying, it was about the people standing beside you. The conversations, the excitement, the feeling that everyone there understood exactly why you were willing to stay up until midnight or later for something that would still be available the next morning. Normally. And maybe that's the thing people miss. Not the waiting, not the inconvenience, not even the product itself, but the feeling that anticipation could bring people together. So sure, midnight launches were inconvenient, inefficient, probably completely unnecessary. And yet somehow they were memorable. Because some experiences become meaningful precisely because they ask something from us. Time, patience, presence. And maybe that's why people still talk about them years later. Not because of what they bought, but because of how it felt to wait together. Because sometimes what we're really nostalgic for isn't the thing itself, it's the people we shared it with. I'm Danny Brown, and this is Artifacts. Thanks for spending some time with Artifacts. If this episode reminded you of a memory, a feeling, or a piece of the internet you thought had disappeared, you can find more episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to help preserve the archive, visit the website for ways to support the show. Until next time, take care of the things that matter to you, even the small ones.